Good day, and welcome to Government House. I think we got it right finally, a little feedback. It's been a long weekend. But welcome to the Government House Weekly Press Briefing and COVID-19 Update for the week of May 31st, 2022. Joining me this afternoon is Commissioner Hussein Encarnacion, our illustrious Department of Health Commissioner, for the latest on COVID-19 data and information on where you can get your COVID test or your vaccine or booster shot this week. But before we get into our briefing this afternoon, I need to really congratulate the Ag Fair Board and the Department of Agriculture and all those cooks and farmers and ranchers and everybody else who was there at the Ag Fair and made it such a success this year. You know, for a little while there we were touch and go, but we appropriated some money and we got the Ag Fair on and brought it to fruition. I also want to thank the community for coming out. You know, Saturday was really hot and there were a lot of people there. When I passed on Sunday, it was jam-packed all the way from one side to the next. The parking lots were full and people were having a good time. So thank you, community, for coming out. And it was a safe fair weekend. Lots of visitors from St. Thomas and St. John over on the Big Island. Want to say hello and thank you for coming. I'm glad you were able to make up. I had a wonderful time this weekend, and the fact that we were able to put together what we did this weekend after 2 years is truly a testament to the commitment of the board and the hard work of the Department of Agriculture in bringing this together. It's just been a great weekend all over. Friday night we had some young recruits here at Government House for our community salutes, saluting young men and women that were joining the Army. That was good. We had bike races this weekend, early Saturday morning, and then another fun ride, 40 miles on Monday, which I participated in. Basketball tournament this weekend, all weekend at Central High School, where we had St. Thomas competing over here against the St. Croix teams, public and private school. Thank you, students, for coming out to that as well. Cricket, we had cricket as usual this weekend too. So if you're over on a Big Island, lots to see, lots to do, lots to have fun at this weekend. As most of you know, we are transitioning our response from COVID-19 from pandemic to endemic. So what this means in short is that we are at a point now where we have the tools and the information necessary to guard against and protect ourselves from serious illness because of COVID-19, at least most of us. Our travel portal is one of those tools that we have relied on over the last several months. I would say we relied on this for almost the last year and a half. And we believe it has been a very effective tool in serving our purpose. In fact, it was one of the main ingredients in the fantastic response to COVID organized by the team. But we need to move forward. It's at a point now, especially with all the vaccines and all the boosters, all the treatments, the monoclonal treatments that we have. All those things help us to assist in making the best decisions and giving the best resources to our people. I think we've gotten to a point now where we can manage and protect our loved ones and those in our community. So effective tomorrow, June 1st, there will no longer be a testing requirement for travelers entering the territory, and the travel portal will be officially removed tomorrow, June 1st. So I want to make a point here because we're taking down the travel portal completely. What doesn't change, though, is the fact that the federal government requires you to have a negative COVID test within 24 hours from a foreign port. So while you don't have to register on a portal to come from Tortola, or if you're coming in here on Aliyah at the airport for the Virgin Islands, for the federal government, you're required to have that test. So you will no longer see our National Guard and those personnel at the airport when you come in. It should be a lot of smooth sailing, just trying our best to get back to normal. But having said all of that, I will now turn it over to Commissioner Encarnacion to give you the good news on COVID-19 actually receding in the territory. Commissioner?
Good afternoon, Governor Bryan, and good afternoon, Virgin Islanders. Thank you for allowing us to be here again today to provide the information on COVID-19. Our current numbers, active cases 664, active cases territory-wide. 487 on St. Croix, 147 on St. Thomas, and 30 on St. John. Our current 7-day positivity rate is 11.58. We have 13 hospitalizations throughout the territory, 3 at JFL and 6 at RLS. There's 1 that's intubated, and that is at RLS. Thus far, we have actually completed 422,824 tests, of which 19,817 have been positive, 403,007 have been negative. Now, we also continue our path to vaccinate Virgin Islanders and keep us all safe. Thus, we have given 70,294 vaccinations first doses and 57,115 second dosages. So you see that gap. It's close to maybe a 19,000 gap. That's not a good thing. So we want to make sure that you go out, you get your second doses. And even if you haven't done and you think that it's a span of time that you shouldn't, go ahead. Go and get that second dose, and you can still get your booster. Remember, our boosters are available at this point in time. Our current vaccination rate on St. Croix is 44.1, St. Thomas 46.7, and St. John 73.8. Let's all get up to that 73.8, okay? It's a challenge. It is important for each of you to practice safety precautions as we are still experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic. The expectations, of course, is for you to just go ahead and do what we're asking you to do, what we have been. So nothing has actually changed. We know that it works, so we want you to continue to do that. We do expect to see a rise of cases after the Ag Fair, as we did after the carnival events and their celebrations. We encourage you to continue to participate in these events simply because our mental well-being depends on social interactions. We just ask that you consider the risk involved in not wearing a mask, washing your hands frequently, and hand sanitizing when in large crowds. I just traveled, and I also ask that you travel with your mask. Because you're in a close quarters with individuals for 2, 3, or more hours, that is actually a very high risk in transmission of the virus. Please monitor yourself and your loved ones for signs and symptoms. If you perform a home test and receive a positive result, you must validate a test with the Department of Health, or you can go to our private lab as well. The test result will be used as a quarantine timeline. We can then ensure that you receive the antivirals to ensure your health. The governor did speak about the medical countermeasures that we have in place. We have the antivirals, we have the monoclonal antibodies, but most of all, we have the vaccinations. Home test kit, positive result, immediately quarantine and get a confirmation test at DOH or lab, like I said. A confirmation test is required to become eligible for the therapeutics that I just spoke about. These life-saving treatments are available regardless of vaccination status. Confirmation test scheduling, call COVID-19 hotline at 340-712-6299 or 340-776-1519. The hotline is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Continued use of COVID-19 protocols is really important. Businesses and government offices have the right to determine mask policies. Please be respectful of that. Buses, ferries, taxis, and airplanes have the right to determine what occurs in their facilities as well. Please respect the rights of others as we ask them to respect your rights. CDC has recommended pediatric boosters for ages 5 to 11. Available at St. Croix at the CVC, and that's at Charles Howard Memorial Complex, Friday 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. St. Thomas, pediatric boosters are only available on Tuesdays and Fridays, and that is at MCH as the Maternal Child Health Clinic from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And please call for an appointment at 340-777-8227. Anyone accompanying a child for a pediatric booster is to bring an ID for the parent or guardian and the child, as well as the child's birth certificate. Vaccines and booster for all age groups continue to be available at the community vaccine centers or the CVC, St. Croix and St. Thomas. Appointments are encouraged in St. Croix in particular because we actually downgraded. We're at a smaller site, but you can actually do the appointments at both for the St. Croix and the St. Thomas sites. And that's the same number, 340-777-8227. And that is compliments of Vitima, who's been working with us from the beginning of the pandemic. pop up on St. John on Wednesdays, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Port Authority gravel lot. Department of Health data collaboration with Waste Management, the Waste Management Authority, we did send out a press release indicating that they are using some tools to look at the level of COVID in the testing, in the water testing for surveillance. It is actually what it's saying to us is that we are in a surge. We knew that. We know that, but it is good to have that scientific confirmation.
In the wastewater.
In the wastewater. Oh, I said waste.
You just said the water.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you, Governor. In the wastewater. It actually gives you a really good, accurate count, basically surveillance, and they can use that with sequencing as well. So we're getting to the next level as to not only do we know that we have COVID within a territory, but we would know what the variant is at that point in time. So we're working closely with them, and they're working also with a company to be able to give that information. The Department of Health develops workforce guidance, policies for isolation and quarantine. You do not have to repeat a test after ending isolation, and there should not be a requirement to return to work. The reason why is if you repeat a test within a certain period of time, it is likely that you're still positive, but you may not be contagious, and that is the reason why. No agency really should be requiring that test to be done. The above guidance should be followed instead of necessitating a quarantine lift letter. However, if you would like a lift letter, please go ahead and call our hotline number, or you can email us as well, and you'd be able to get that letter if it's something that's being demanded. The incentive gift card should be available shortly. We're still working on that. We haven't forgotten you. You will be getting your $250 gift card if you did receive your booster or your vaccines within a span of time that we agreed. So we're keeping our word. For the latest COVID-19 information, please visit www.covid19usvi.com. And for COVID-19 health information alerts, text COVID-19 USVI to 888-777, a little date on a monkeypox update. No cases in the Virgin Islands. Monkeypox is a virus. Transmission is via close contact and with contaminated items, for example, bed linen. So we're also sending out reminders. We will be sending out letters to all of the bed and breakfasts as well as the hotels so that we can have a strict guidance as to what we need to do. It's just a reminder to everyone. Everyone stay safe and follow really, just listen to the alerts that are coming out, and we'll continue to provide information as it comes out. Suspected cases must be confirmed by CDC with the help of the Department of Health, and antivirals can be prescribed as treatment is needed. And that's it for me, Governor. Thank you so much.
Well, that's a whole lot. You know, Commissioner, I was just doing the numbers there. It looks like we have done over 845,000 COVID tests since the inception of this. And since we've been counting, that's a lot of tests for a population of 87,000 or thereabouts.
You know, Governor, I have to say that I just came back from a COVID sustainability conference, and really and truly want to thank all of our partners. Of ITEMA, I always speak about them, but tourism has been a true partner for us. And we did so much in terms of trying to put COVID back into a box, and we continue to do that. And it's important that we really recognize that COVID has not gone away. And that conference proved it. Everyone at that conference is still concerned because spikes may go up and down, and that's what the definition of endemicity is, that the fact that is that you're gonna still have COVID.
Yeah, it's not going
protect you
anywhere.
from having COVID.
Yeah.
However, it is expected that the variants that come may sometimes be a little bit more severe than you expect, and that's what the caution is.
So we could have worse variants in the future.
Correct. You can't predict.
Well, one thing that I know is for sure is, you know, while those of us who are more susceptible in our community, it's always a threat. Also the economic disruption that goes behind COVID. Right now, certain students are not allowed to be in school because they had outbreaks at graduation and whatnot and different activities. Yes, people are still in school and they're still trying. I was shocked myself to see people still graduating. In the paper, you thought it'd be over now. Offices are still getting closed in the government and other private businesses as a result of COVID. But I think the response has just been awesome from the team, and especially to all our public and private sector practitioners out there in the medical field. It's Nurses Month. I don't know, for some reason there has been some feeling like I don't appreciate the nurses. And we have set aside $10 million in each hospital to compensate nurses. Everything takes a little while to get out because we do have union contracts in place, and it's against the law really for us to be awarding money to anybody. We've done it in the past and we're trying to do it the right way. So nurses, we appreciate you, just like all the grocery workers and the bank tellers and everybody else who we have lined up for premium pay. That money is coming. It's just that we're doing so many things at one time. And sometimes I really think to myself, we've done such a good job with COVID that people forget for the last 2 years we were inside trying to manage this thing, and everything has been significantly delayed.
I don't think that Attorney Springett would mind me saying, but we are starting conversations with the nurses in negotiation. So we started on last Friday, and we'll continue to do that. That's separate from the incentive program that I know that you're implementing. So that's actually great news for the nurses. Yeah,
so we're trying to bring that money forward as quickly as possible to them, and they're going to get a nice chunk for our appreciation, and because we know that the nurses here are severely underpaid compared to their counterparts in the mainland. But the one thing I always tell every government employee, the people in the community is who pay the taxes to pay our salaries. And we make more than them. We get better retirement systems than them. We have better health insurance than them. So this community, private sector and the like, actually makes sacrifices so government employees can have the services that they have. And most of the time we have better service. We have probably one of the best insurance plans in the country, one of the best retirement plans in the country. So, when you say all of that, you have to recognize that we pay what our community can afford. And 30% of our community lives below the poverty line. So we do well for what our community can afford. And we would love to pay people more. We always want to, but we can only pay what we can afford. So we've been delayed in our union negotiations as a result of COVID. We couldn't get out and do things the way we wanted to. But trust me, traditionally, people try to get it all in an election year because they know or they think by November, if it doesn't happen, it's not going to happen again. My word is my word. We're going to get all the government employees paid a fair wage, as fair as we can determine. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about, in some non-COVID related news, we actually turned in are submitting our budget to the legislature this afternoon for the next year. Once again, we sent in a 2-year budget. We believe that planning for us is essential, and it's good to give the lawmakers a look at what we have coming up. So we submitted the budget for fiscal year 23 and 24. And the theme of our budget is framing our financial future. And I think this is so important because we're approaching a point here where, yes, we're stronger than ever, but we have to make sure that we don't tip over on that point where we create so much expenses for our government that we can't handle it once we get over the COVID recovery and spending from the hurricane. We need to be able to have a manageable budget so that we never have to go through that 8% reduction or layoffs or anything like that again. So while we are very optimistic about our future, framing our financial future is making sure that we do so in a responsible way, because we're projecting growth in all 5 major revenue categories: personal income tax, corporate income tax, real property tax, gross receipt tax, and excise tax. We expect all of them to go up because the strength of these revenue collections over the last 3 years has allowed us to propose a budget plan that addresses several critical expenditure areas. So the highlights of this budget is what we're able to do because of the financial management and what we've been doing. So this year, or next fiscal year, we put in for $16 million for public employee wage increases. That's the wages and increases I was talking about. Funding for 1,200 vacancies across all agencies. $2 million to fund the Office of Disaster Recovery. We're moving into a point now in our recovery where we need more and more professionals working for us directly to manage these schools that are coming on, the hospitals that are coming along. And these people that we need to hire make $130,000, $140,000, way above any of the capacities of a lot of these agencies we have. $225,000 for continued support for the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Last year, they put in 2 new offices under the Office of the Governor, Office of Gun Violence Prevention, as well as VIVIS. So and actually the Health Information Exchange 3. So our office is getting larger now, and now we need employees to staff that. Most of those were legislative moves. $1.8 million for the expansion of GVI fellows. So we have a 2-year program where we're bringing young people onto the government and switching them from office to office, and then they get out. This is the 2nd year that we're doing this, so we're bringing on another 15 to 20 students onto the program. Next year, this time, those students who were recruited last year will come out of the program and either find government jobs or find jobs in the private sector. EMS staff now has been fully integrated from the Department of Health to the fire service. So in this budget, you will see that shift from health going over to the fire service for EMS. Doing that took 15 years, and we finally got it done. So now we're just moving the money in the budget, another feather in the cap for the administration and the legislature. An additional $2 million in funding to the Supreme Court of the Virgin Islands, that's Supreme and Superior. We have a lot of employees over there in the Supreme and Superior Court that haven't been able to get raises. They're not being able to keep up in the Marshal Service with the regular government. So we're putting some more money in there. We had an appeal from the Chief Justice, Justice Hodge. We're trying to give the court more money, which is often a forgotten branch of government, especially to get those employee salaries up. And in keeping with the plans I outlined in my State of the Territory, this past January, we have included $25 million. We said we're going to put $25 million in retroactive wages for the retro pay that's owed from 1990. I like to remind people this is a 30-year-old debt that this Bryan and Roach administration is paying. That's $25 million for this year and for next year. So Mary could stop calling me now and writing me emails. We put the money in there. $5 million to be deposited in the rainy day fund. We have built significant cash reserves now, never had before in the Virgin Islands. We always rated the insurance guarantee fund. This administration has put aside $5 million for the last couple of years for this fund. We are also retaining $5 million in the Transportation Trust Fund to allow for road maintenance, as was the intent of the fund. So the Transportation Trust Fund never had any money in it for years. We're putting money in there now so we can actually start a road repair program. I meet a lot of you this weekend and looking for road paving and stuff. Once again, the election coming didn't make us start road paving. The election going is not going to make us stop road paving. So I hear you down in WIM. I heard your plea there. We're starting Monster Hill in St. Thomas. I think it's this week. The 2 parts of the highway are coming on. One should be coming on within the next 2 weeks. That's the Home Depot gap to Profit, and then Williams Delight. That's coming on, and then all the highway lights. And finally, we have also included legislation to approve our adult use cannabis. It's just totally ridiculous now how long Senator Sarro has been holding our bill in the legislature. Call her and tell her, why are you holding up this adult cannabis use legislation? We need to get it down, so we put it in. We're going to be calling the legislature into special session. We're going to give them plenty of time to think about it. But we have a $40 million funding gap this year that we need to fill with different types of funding resources. We want to get that going, and don't listen to them when they tell you about medicinal cannabis. Medicinal cannabis use costs us money. It doesn't make us a dime. We don't tax it because it's a medicine. So we need to get this bill moving It's been 3 years now, moving, get it through the legislature so we can get some money going. So lots of stuff in this budget. Remember, framing our financial future. We need to be looking forward as well as in the present about what's going to happen and what we need to survive, because one day all the federal money is going to come to a screeching halt and everything else, and we're going to have to figure out how to make this economy more viable. That's why I'm making trips to Boston, DC, New York, wherever I need to go to create economic recovery, new economic dollars in the territory. Now, other good news, I want to invite you and the entire public to join us this Saturday when our very own queen of queens of basketball, Aliyah Boston, will be coming back to the territory. We'll be unveiling a sign of her at the Cyril E. King Airport there in St. Thomas. And we're going to celebrate all her accomplishments. She won about every award you could win in college basketball this year. She's a Virgin Islander and a very great person beyond her basketball capabilities. And we're going to have a parade on that day. It starts at 11:30 a.m. We're asking you to join that. It will take place from Emile Griffith Park down Veterans Drives and end at Veterans Drive. We're going to have a motorcade go down there where we will have a little ceremony that is scheduled to take place at 12:30. I want to see all of you in your Gamecock gear out there to celebrate with Aliyah. I want you to see the VI flags and the VI signs. We want to show her our appreciation for our ambassador, Aliyah, not only in basketball, but also in just being a great, upstanding Virgin Islands citizen. You know, Aliyah also just signed with Under Armour, and she's actually made sure that they committed to come to the Virgin Islands to do things. So there's actually a training camp that's being put on by Under Armour, courtesy of Aliyah Boston, where we're going to be training, I think it's 40 or 50 young ladies, 25 from St. Thomas, 25 St. Thomas, St. John, 25 from St. Croix. They're going to be flying over there to participate. Speaking about woman power and excellence in our Virgin Islands, I also want to extend best wishes to Miss Shadia Courier as she begins competing in Scripps, the National Spelling Bee Championship today. She is 13, she's an 8th grader from the Free Will Baptist Christian School on St. Croix, and we got her back, win, lose, or draw. But we know she's gonna win, and we're extremely proud of her. I want to congratulate her mother, Sadra Courier, her chaperone, Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Carla Bastian, her principal, Hannah Postlewaite, her coaches, and the faculty and staff at the Free Will Baptist School on her success. Miss Postlewaite got another winner there at Free Will Baptist. Let me hope she's a winner for the entire Virgin Islands. All our prayers are with you, Miss Courier, as you make your entrance in Scripps. So lots of things going on great in the territory. I'm going to stop right now and take some questions from the press. We got, there you go, you got the mic. Wasiba.
So, good morning.
Good morning.
So, Governor, I have 2 for you and then 1 for the Commissioner. Sir, have you received a response from the EPA? You recently wrote them a letter in regards to West Indies Petroleum's purchase of the Lime Tree Bay refinery. You feel like they're being a little bit obstructionist, and I'm wondering if they've given you any kind of a response. You went to Washington, testified.
Yeah, no response from them. Lime Tree has a number of items that they had requested, EPA had requested information, and they're just about done with that. We actually have a visit from the regional administrator. I think that's tomorrow, the meeting is, either tomorrow or Thursday. They're going to be in the territory specifically to discuss wastewater, runoff, and Clean Water Drinking Act. There's some budget grant money that they have allotted, but I'll be sure to be mentioning that before she leaves, because we just want to make sure that we get the refinery going and get it going safe. We never ask for any favors. We just want it to be fair. And so far, so good. It's looking good. We'll see.
Okay. And then have you had any conversations with West Indies Petroleum, their principals, and have they told you or your administration when they could begin processing petroleum again?
Well, they're ready to go. I mean, they were telling me that they wanted to be processing by October. I thought that was a little aggressive. We've been having conversations with them back and forth, but they're ready to go. As you know, the price of oil right now, it's really the market that they want to be in. On the other hand, our terminal is not doing as well because no one wants to store oil now. Everybody wants to sell oil. So they're actually interested and very excited about getting the refinery started as well, too, because that'll create more revenue source for them, as that's their biggest customer. So, you know, a lot of pressure right now on the Biden administration we're putting to give us a fair shot and get it done. But as long as they haven't answered, we kind of hold up and let that process take place, and then we go again.
Okay, awesome. And then, Commissioner, our recent relaxation of COVID restrictions is predicated on advancements that the U.S. made in regards to its response to the disease, namely monoclonal antibodies and retroviral therapies that are coming online. Given that the FDA has continually updated to approval for monoclonal antibody therapies as different variants, you know, come alive and certain therapies are less effective, we've lost weapons and gained new ones. And so I'm wondering, what is our hospital system's current capabilities to care for people presenting with severe COVID? Like, how much retrovirals do we have? How much access do we have to monoclonals? And how can, if we need to step up, you know, like after Advocare, if we have a big surge, what is that process?
So it's the antivirals, and what we did is we started a test to treat program. It's a federal program. We actually speak to the Assistant Secretary of Health with Dr. Hunt Caesar, who's actually leading that process. And we have antivirals located at each of our, we only have one pharmacy in St. John, so that one pharmacy holds it, and pharmacies in St. Croix and St. Thomas. Bureau of Correction has access to test to treat. Both hospitals have access to test to treat, as well as our nursing homes. So we're ready. We have a large amount available. We have not had to ask for anything else, because right now, but on a monthly basis, Dr. Hunt Caesar is working with all of them to be able to put their information in. So the moment that we utilize the services, we actually get reimbursed from, in other words, more antiviral comes back to us. So it's a constant base that we're doing. The best medical countermeasure, though, is the vaccination. So we're still asking you, because you know, individuals who have been vaccinated, like the governor, still contracted COVID. However, look at how strong he is, right, Governor? But not just that. He was able to combat the virus because he was fully vaccinated. And that's really what we're seeing. A lot of individuals that are hospitalized have actually been fully vaccinated and boosted. So that booster is really what's causing you to have a less of an effect of COVID. My aunt, she's 89 years old, and she actually has COVID. She's been boosted. She's doing well, thank God for that. But you have to be very cautious. So in other words, yes, COVID is still here. We want you to be vaccinated. Those that are not vaccinated, you still can't get the antivirals or the monoclonal antibodies.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's it. I also want to I heard the president this weekend talking about the stresses of inflation. And I just wanted the public to know that while the president is doing all he can to relieve the stress of inflation, we are doing the same here as well, too. And I pointed out to people, you know, your gas bill has gone up a lot, but your WAPA bill hasn't. And that's not by magic. We've been working with WAPA to make sure that we put in resources to keep your light bill low. We still have not forgotten about our push to go solar. We have all those programs in place and coming in. I'm meeting with WAPA this week where they'll unveil their plan to me about how they're going to manage this moving forward. So we're still moving aggressively towards keeping your light bill where it is and making sure that we lower it as quickly as possible too. So even with this energy crisis that we didn't predict, we're managing to maintain our promise that we will keep your light bill the same, at least, or lower as quickly as possible. We do have Ernest calling in. I guess he got on late. If you have any questions. Mr. Gilbert.
Gov, good afternoon. How are you? Hello, Governor, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, hello, hello. Governor, can you hear me?
Can you
Hello?
hear him? Any
Hello?
questions from the consortium? I see they popped up on the screen.
Yes, I do. I don't know if you can hear me, though.
Do a shameless shout out to my sister whose birthday is tomorrow, Terry. Happy birthday. But also to remind everyone, June 1st also starts the hurricane season. So don't wait until the mix of the hurricane. Please, the Department of Health's preparedness team asks that you start to prepare now. And I'm sure Director Jashin is appreciative of this note. I'm sure he'll be here speaking with you soon. But please start to prepare.
That's true. Speaking of that, I was briefed last week by FEMA and all of the major agencies for hurricane. That's Public Works, Health, Human Services, and everyone. We're ready to go on June 1st. We got tightening up to do. As usual, we're having problems with sheltering in St. John. If you have some resources to help us with that, please give us a call. We got money we will pay over there, especially in St. John. Otherwise than that, I think we're getting ready to go, and hopefully we'll have a quiet hurricane season. A lot of that depends on you and your prayers. But like my good friend Bronco said, trust in God, but lock your doors. So prepare for hurricane season. Have a good week, and I'll see you next week. Love you.